Hello and welcome to Life Changes with Mariette. I am Mariette. And in today's segment, we're talking about what happens to our sense of direction when we're stuck, when we're in a maze box. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that, so stay tuned. I've lived a good part of my life, but I also know that the more adversity we experience in life, it affects us. And it affects people in various ways. And let me be specific. When people lose a loved one through death or divorce, or they lose a child, people lose their homes, people lose their jobs, people are devastated. And what really happens to people is they lose hope when things happen one after another. And especially, I've talked to many people who have experienced losing a loved one. They isolate themselves, and that can last for years and years and years. Life is a roller coaster, yes. But what happens really to us, we put ourselves into a maze box. I came up with that name, a maze box, because we're still moving around in that box, but we're doing the same thing. We're stuck, really. And we're really not living, because when we're in that maze box, we don't feel happy. We just exist. And why I can talk about that is that after my adversity, and I have had several adversities, I've had divorce, loss of my parents, loss of loved ones, loss of health even, I got stuck. And that lasted for 15 years. This being stuck lasted for 15 years. So about 6 years ago, I started radio and television programs, and I talked about health and wellness, because how it affected me, I became obese. Yes, I became obese, and I was okay with it. But the way I started changing things is I purposely put myself in an environment where we would constantly talk about wellness and weight loss, nutrition. I interviewed doctors and so forth. So that was the beginning of my journey. And wouldn't you know, 6 years later, 2012, we still have 2012. I lost 60 pounds this year. That has been my accomplishment. I feel pretty again. I feel great. I look great. I just feel pretty from the inside out. That is a heck of an accomplishment. And that really was my door opener to that maze box. I found that exit. And do you know how I feel about that? I feel great about it. And I want you to feel great about yourself too. Because there is hope after you decide that you can put after you finish grieving. Maybe I grieved for 15 years, and that's all okay, because there is a way out. Everybody will stay in that maze box till they decide it's time to make a change. And I decided to make a change. I decided that this year. And my door was with the weight loss. 60 pounds is a tremendous amount of weight. And I feel like I look 20 years younger. I feel great, and I want you to feel great too. You can get out of that maze box, as I said before, but you have to want it. And I think it all has something to do with letting go of the grief. And grief, you can't put a timeline on it. You grieve as long as you need to feel you need to grieve. I read up on that a little bit, and I learned how different people handle grief. And yes, there is a way out, but you have to want it, and I wanted it. That's the difference. I tell you who can help you find that exit in the maze box. Professionals that understand what you're going through. Not everybody understands it. And I don't care what titles they have. To give you an example, 6 years ago, I actually picked the wrong professionals. When in my case it was obesity. And a lot of people don't understand obesity, especially if they're not doctors, if they're not professionals in that field. Obesity has a lot to do with mentally emotional state. and what will work for somebody who is obese versus somebody who just needs to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, two different pairs of shoes. So you need to pick the right professionals that have gone through this journey. Somebody who has been obese before and know what it feels like. Or somebody who has experienced grief and has dealt with it and came out of it okay, healthy and better than ever before, with power and strength. That's what it's all about, picking the right professionals. And I'd like you to contact me. And I'd like to hear your story. Call me at 203-505-3660. Or email me your story, kesseducation@aol.com. In today's segment, we talked about what it's like to be stuck, what it's like to be in a Mazebox. And we don't know exactly when we will find the exit, but with help from professionals, you can find that exit very quickly if you're ready to get unstuck. So, thank you for tuning in today.